All right. So everybody, welcome back to what I believe is now the third edition of Success Stories with Shane. The first episode was kind of just an introduction with Paul and myself and kind of explaining what this segment is. And then last week we talked a lot about becoming visible and how to market your practice in 2021 using the number one platform that patients use when looking for a dentist or a dental service. And that was, the Google search engine. And so today we're actually going to go to part 2 of that, where we're going to talk about paid advertising on Google, which is a really popular avenue that a lot of successful practices that not only we work with, but other practices have been using for years. And I'm going to talk about why it's so beneficial. But before we get into that, just in case you're new here, since this is only our third time doing this, this is a once a month segment. So this happens every month where I'll come on, which we're a sponsor of the Dental Nachos Group. So Crimson Media, we're a dental marketing company that help dentists all across the country grow their practice online. And what I'm doing is we're just wanting to come to the Dental Nachos community that we've been a part of for several years now and teach you guys and show you guys what we are seeing on our end that tends to work and drive new patients for dental practices. And so that's what we're here to do today. So let's go back to last week really quickly, where we talked about how patients find their dentist. Outside of an internal referral from existing patient or family member or something like that, 7 out of 10 people actually use an online search engine to find their healthcare provider. And this was done by Pew Research back in 2018. I wouldn't be surprised if that number is higher now, but that's the latest research that we have from Pew on that. So think about it. Anything you do in your daily life, you probably go online, you go to Google, Google it is the common term that people use to find whatever it is you need to find. If you need to looking for a restaurant, chiropractor, dentist, whatever the heck it is. And so, it ultimately comes down to, if you're searching for best dentist near me or dental implants near me or in your city or whatever the case may be, those who rank the highest are obviously going to receive the most traffic. The people you see pop up on Google are going to get the traffic, and more traffic equals more new patient opportunities. And so, we talked a little bit last week about understanding the patient journey and how it's not just from point A to point B usually what happens is, the patient goes through a bunch of different avenues before they actually schedule an appointment at your practice. So you can see at the top here, it looks fairly simple, and we wish it was that simple, trust me, but really it's more like what you see on the bottom. People might do a Google search. They might click on your organic listing or ad, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, how to make those ads convert really well for your practice. They may hear, about you from somebody. They may go check out your online reviews, then do a Google search, check out your website. They may go to your social media channel, the dreaded insurance question. Do you take my insurance? They may go to their insurance site to see if you check that. So there's a lot of different avenues that the patient is going through before they settle on scheduling an appointment at a dental practice. And today we're going to talk about one of the platforms that you can leverage to help increase your visibility and increase new patients in your practice. And we're also going to talk about some of the mistakes that we most common see in a Google Ads campaign and how you can make yours succeed. So we talked about organic results last week. You can always go back, search in the group, Success Stories with Shane. You can find that. We unveiled some different things that you can do that are working to help you in your organic search results. And we even had kind of like a website checklist on that. So go back and search in the group for that. But again, today we're talking about paid ads on Google. And again, everybody probably knows this, but when you Google something, dentist, whatever it is, the ads are going to be the first thing that pop up at the very top. They're going to say ad next to them. They're going to have the map results under that, and then the organic results there. So just a visual of what that looks like. So what we're actually going to cover today, and this is really going to, I think, open up the eyes of a lot of people who've ran Google Ads campaigns before and maybe not gotten results from them, because we're going to really dig into some of those things. But ultimately, we're going to talk about why Google Ads is key to unlimited scalability in terms of potential new patient flow for your practice. And that's what makes this platform so popular and so powerful. We're going to look at live examples of some Google Ads results generating 5x plus return on investment for other dental practices out there. And then we're also going to talk about the key to setting up a Google campaign that actually converts patients and eliminates some of the pitfalls that people will fall in when they try to maybe launch their own campaign and don't see much results with that. So we're going to talk about why Google Ads should be part of your marketing strategy. And first and foremost, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but when you launch an ad on Google, when you pay to play, you skyrocket your practice to the top of the Google search results. So last week or last month when we talked about the organic search results, that's something that takes time. Sure, you don't have to pay Google to appear in the organic search results, but it takes time to build that and be able to climb up those rankings. So with ads, you skyrocket to the top. You can show up as often as possible where your patients are looking, whether it's on Google, Google Maps. You can show up on the sidebars of different websites through third-party advertising. You can show up for geo-modified terms, just like dentist or dental implants, braces, etc. Those type of terms, you can actually target and show up in front of people who are looking for those. And at the end of the day, kind of like we talked about, it's unlimited scalability. So once you get this dialed in, you can say, you'll know what your cost per conversion is. And you can say, we spend, $500 to get a new dental implant patient. And you can do the math on that and scale that up accordingly. So here's some common mistakes that you need to avoid when running Google Ads, whether you're running them yourself, you have someone helping you with them. These are the things that we see. You need to use specific text ads and landing pages to correspond with the service you are promoting. So what do I mean by that? Well, I see oftentimes if someone is doing a campaign on, we're just going to use dental implants as an example. They'll say something in the ad about, dental implants, and maybe they'll mention a price point starting at, maybe they'll mention that. And then when someone clicks on the ad, they'll take them to like their dental implants page on their website, and the website doesn't have that, offer anywhere on the page. It may not say, implants starting at, $39.99 or whatever the case may be. And so there's a disconnect for the patient when you see an ad that says something specific on it, and then you go to the page that the ad sent you to, and it doesn't match up. That's going to result in someone exiting that page and going and clicking on another. So you need to make sure that your offer, your language, everything that's worked into the ad itself matches up with the page that you're sending the traffic to. And that's why we say you need to have a specific landing page that matches the messaging of the Google ad. So that's first and foremost, because that is going to result in a much higher conversion rate than just sending someone to your homepage on your website or a general page that doesn't match up. Second, most campaigns I see when we do these audits are not properly set up for Google conversions. And so what do I mean by that? Well, Google actually has, it's called a conversion tag. And sometimes people get intimidated when they see this, and this is why they don't set it up. But there's a piece of code that you essentially need to put on the page that you're sending the paid traffic to, and then have a thank you page that when someone fills out their information for a consult request, that sort of thing, the person hits a thank you page, and there's a conversion code on there that tells Google, hey, this person counts as a conversion for this ad. And what happens is through artificial intelligence, Google will start to learn at what times of day, what days of week that your ad is more likely going to convert. And that ultimately is going to help with the scalability of the ad campaign. If you don't have that set up, you're not going to be able to measure where your patients actually came from. They may say, well, I went to Google, but you can't actually go back and measure that conversion in the ads. And so that's the first mistake that it'll make. But the second mistake is the campaign will never be able to optimize. So you're never going to be able to get the most out of that Google ad campaign. So that's why you got to make sure you have your Google conversion tags set up properly on your landing pages. Following that, you need to have call tracking set up. You need to have just like if you were going to do a mailer and you want to have a specific number that you can track to see how many people called from the mailer, you need to have the same thing set up with Google. So we use a service called CallRail, where we're able to still get a number that has the same area code and everything like that. But you want to make sure that you have that so we can say, hey, we know we had 15 calls from this Google ad in the last 30 days, for example. So make sure you have call tracking and your conversion ads tags set up properly. Use negative keyword lists so you don't show up for irrelevant search terms and easily burn through your budget. I'm sure right now you could probably go to Google and type in, how do I become a dentist, right? Something like that, where someone is using the term dentist in the search, but they're not actually looking for a dentist. They're just using the term dentist, and you'll probably see Google ads popping up for different dental practices. That's one of the things you would want to exclude, because you only want to get in front of people who are actually looking for a dentist and not searching for something like how to become a dentist or how long is dental school or something like that, where those terms just pop up. Oftentimes too is kind of the fourth thing. You don't have a clear call to action in your ads. And if you don't have a clear call to action, you're really going to have a hard time converting well. An ad is an ad for a reason. It has to have an offer, whether it's a certain amount for an emergency exam or new patient, a special cleaning x-ray exam, whatever. You have to have some sort of offer in the ad if you're running an ad. Otherwise, you're just going to blend in with all the other search results, and you're going to pay for those clicks when you do get them, and it's just not going to convert well. So have a clear call to action in your ads. And then the last thing on this part is patience. And listen, people oftentimes think that running a digital ad campaign is kind of like putting something in the newspaper where right when you launch it, you should just be getting people calling. And the bottom line is a digital campaign, whether it's Google, Facebook, anything advertising online, it's going to take some time, because it uses, again, artificial intelligence that decides when the ad should be shown at what times of day to what certain people based on whether or not they're going to convert. So the more data, the more time that you give a campaign to learn, the better your performance is typically going to be in that campaign. So the first month, 2 months, even 3 months of a Google Ads campaign usually isn't going to be as good or as strong as the 4th, 5th, 6th month. And I'm going to show examples of campaigns that have been running for 12 plus months and are running at a very strong clip and producing a high ROI because they've had enough data and time. And again, Google, like any other platform, they want you to spend money with them, right? So the more money that you've spent with them for a longer period of time, your campaign is going to get rewarded over the campaign that just started a month ago and is only running for 3 weeks. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Examples. So I know everybody, kind of always wants to see what examples do you have of, these type of strategies implemented. So first example I'm going to use is a practice out in Las Vegas. And so they're, we're running a Google Ads, dental implants, and emergency dentistry. So between the two different campaigns there, this campaign's ran for 12 months, and it's still active. And when I show you a conversion on the next screen, conversions are set up kind of like what we talked about a little bit earlier as either a phone call or a web form consultation request. So they filled out the consultation request on the landing page. So this is for emergency dentistry and dental implants. As you can see, in the last 30 days, there was 475 clicks on the ad, delivered 6,300 impressions, had an average cost per click of $4.82. Again, that's how you're charged with Google Ads. Most of you might know this already, but if you don't, you're charged based on when people click on your ad. And in an area like Las Vegas, really anything under $10 per click is pretty good. So $4.82. That number has consistently gotten lower and lower the longer the campaigns ran, because again, Google's learned, oh, this is the best times of the day to show it, etc. Last 30 days, spent a total of $2,200 in ads with Google, and we had 97 conversions. So either form submissions or phone calls. Again, it didn't start out this hot in the first 30 days or even the first 60 days, but over time, we were able to build that up. So what did that look like in terms of treatment? Well, added up over the last year, the average monthly production for this practice from the Google ads is $65,000. The budget that I showed you, this $2,200, was recently increased. So that the average number is going to be swayed a little bit from that, but $65,000 is the average production, and the lowest monthly production I believe from this campaign was around $25,000 the first few months. So if you're putting 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 in, and you're saying, okay, we're getting an average of 65,000 out. Well, if we want to double that, well, we double the budget, make some tweaks on the ads. Theoretically, we can continue to get there. You may bite into that return on investment a little bit the bigger you get, but this is showing you the power of a campaign for that's run for 12 months, spending an average of $2,000 a month and averaging out $65,000 in actual production. So, second example I'm going to show you is a practice located in Denver. They're advertising, specialized dentistry. So a number of different things from holistic dentistry to some perio. So it's not just like general dentistry, but it's more of kind of like some specialized procedures. Again, campaigns ran for 12 months plus, still active. Again, same deal, running a conversion as a phone call or a consultation form request. This one, just to show you one extreme kind of the other, higher or lower volume because of the nature of not advertising for emergencies. Emergencies tend to have much higher conversions because people need a dentist right away. This campaign, the average, just to give you an idea here, the costs for the campaign every 30 days about $1,800, you can see. So 249 clicks in the last 30 days, average of $7.45, 16 and a half conversions. That half actually came from one of those conversions. Basically, somebody called twice, so it counted it as a half conversion. So technically 16 patients came from this with an average cost of conversion of $112.36. Now, again, to give you an idea, the average patient from this type of campaign produces $3,000 in this practice. So if they even convert one of 5 of those patients, around 500, let's just say $550, that patient's still worth $3,000. So they're still getting about $2,400, $2,500 as far as actual profit from that patient from the Google ad campaign. So again, this is something that these are the type of ways you want to think about this, is not just how many calls did I get, how much did I spend, but how much did I spend, how much was my cost per new patient to come in the door, and is that a good ROI for me in the long term? And that's the way you want to be thinking in these Google ad campaigns. So again, the average monthly production from Google ads for this practice is typically around $35,000. Again, some of those patients end up being $10,000 plus dollar treatment. Some of them may end up being just $2,000. So it varies, but it tends to be a high value patient that we're advertising for in this specific campaign. So, at the end of the day, you've got to know your return on investment long term, and don't expect in the first 2 months to make a 5x return on investment with the digital ads campaign. It's something that you want to look at long term and give it at least 3 months time to be able to go back to the drawing board and see maybe if there's changes and adjustments that need to be made, or a new offer, or whatever the case is. But you have to know your numbers. You have to know what your cost per conversion is for a new patient, and ultimately, what's the new patient acquisition cost. So if it costs $100 to get a new patient to call, of those patients that call, if we convert it, again, just using the example at 25%, does it cost us $800 to get a $10,000 implant case? Then, is that a good investment for the practice? Last little bit I want to touch on here for these campaigns, because the one thing that they've all had in common that we talked about a little bit earlier is a landing page that corresponds to the offer that you're running and to the campaign that you're running. So where you're sending your traffic once they click on the ad is critical. I can't say this enough. It is so critical to the success of the overall campaign. So again, if you're just sending to an irrelevant page on your website that doesn't match with the messaging of your ads, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle seeing this. Many of you maybe have done this before, or had this set up before, and you're like, man, I just we ran it for a year and I never saw anything. Usually that may come back to either the offer or where the traffic was being sent to wasn't converting well. So the landing page needs to offer what you're saying in the ad. Pretty simple. So here's just kind of an example of a landing page. Again, this is dental implants. So this is actually, it's not going to show up in my slide, but this is actually kind of like a video background here that actually has movement and everything. So it gets the patient's attention when they click on the ad, because again, this is paid traffic. We got to get their attention quick, and we got to let them know that we are the practice that they should choose. So there's a video in the background, clear call to action at the top, schedule your consultation. We even have kind of a starting price point for upper and lower implants. So that way we can kind of pre-qualify the patient a little bit. If the patient's not looking to spend over $5,000, then, they're probably going to know that this isn't the right thing for them. And then what the consultation includes right below that, and have a nice, clean, easy to understand description of what, you're going to be offering, what the patient can expect at their first appointment, and have all of that in the landing page with some clear call to actions. And there was also just above this video, phone number and address I cut out just to kind of keep the patient's or the client's information from being out there. But having phone number, address right at the top of the page, clear call to action, what that first appointment is going to include or what they should expect. And that is a powerful page that's going to be able to help you convert that traffic. And you can see that versus sending to maybe one of the inner pages of your website that may not have all of that information lined out or matching up with what the ad itself says. So to summarize this episode of Success Stories with Shane, you must have your campaign set up properly to measure your return on investment. If the campaign itself isn't set up to track the patients that you're getting from it, the phone calls that you're getting from it, it's like sending a mailer out, blind with no tracking. You have to be able to have that set up so you know where patients are coming from and what's converting and what's not. Only bid on keywords that are relevant to what you're advertising. So again, we talked about dental implants, a dentist near me. Those type of terms are great to advertise for. How long is dental school, or how do I become a dentist? Those are terms you don't want to show up for because they may have dentist in them, but they're not actually related to what you're advertising for. Have your conversion optimized landing page like we just went over, where you're sending the traffic. Remember, it's just as important as the ad itself, because you got to get that traffic to convert. That's where these specialized landing pages really play an important role. And then finally, patience is the key with digital advertising. The longer these campaigns run, if you're doing them right, the better they will get over time. And that's where the scalability comes in. And once you know your cost per acquisition for a new patient through a paid advertising campaign or mailer or whatever it is, once you know that number and you know the average value of that patient that you're getting to the practice, then the rest just becomes just math from there. So keep that in mind as the next time you're considering running a paid ads campaign. As always, as a sponsor of Dental Nachos, we're always here to help in any way that we can. So you can always reach out. That's our website, crimsonmediagroup.com. I believe in the comments down below, the Dental Nachos team has a specific page that they'll can send you to show that Dental Nacho member referred you to our website. And we'd love to help in any way we can. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this episode of Success Stories with Shane. And be sure to tune in 4 weeks from today for the next episode for May. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again next time.